What up, guys? CP the Tool Addict. Woo! How you doing today? This is going to be a pretty awesome video, I think. I've been wanting to talk about this. I have kind of touched on this a little bit, this topic, and that is semi-deep sockets. That's right, semi-deeps. Now, we have a 3/8 and 1/4 inch set, and I do have some snap-on. Ooh, that offended about 5 people. I have some snap-on semi-deeps. It offends people for American-made tools. I know. I don't understand why, but anyways, and there was an interesting discussion going on in the comment section on a video about semi-deeps, and it's been brought to my attention that there's only about 3 companies that have semi-deep half-inch drive sockets, and I'm kind of feeling the reason why that is really in half-inch drive. I think they're kind of subjective, or they can be kind of maybe unnecessary. In some applications, yes. If you got longer bolts like lug nuts, that could be definitely something that I could see. Is why it'd be nice to be using semi deeps, because shallows aren't deep enough and deeps are a little bit too much. So nonetheless, that's kind of the point of that. But anyways, why would you need semi deeps? I guess is the other thing that was kind of being talked about. What do you need semi deeps for? Well, I got a bolt here, and I kind of want to talk about that for a little bit. So, as you can see here, I got different sizes. Now, I have different ones. I have a snap-on flank drive. Now, I keep in mind, I don't have a full set of the snap-on flank drives because I have a set of ADV 1/4 inch ones. I have a full set of these. I use those a lot. And I have, actually, I have a GEARWRENCH set, which I don't use these as much, but they're 1/4 inch drive. I use the impact ones, to be honest with you. And I have a full set of the 3/8 drive snap-ons in semi-deeps. And then I have one Mac one, which was by a fluke. The Mac, which is, we're going to talk about that too, because Mac is very interesting about their deeps. In fact, let's just go ahead and talk about the Mac ones real quick. Mac has like 4 different sizes on their sockets. And try to keep my stuff in focus here. This is a mid-length socket, and this is a deep, and these are both 3/8 drive. Now, keep in mind, this is a 13 millimeter, so do keep that in mind. I don't have the exact size, but if you notice the size of the 10 millimeter versus a 13 millimeter shallow. In fact, I do have a 10 millimeter shallow. What the hell am I doing? I have a full set of Max, but there's the 10 millimeter shallow and the 10 millimeter semi-deep. So you're just getting, this is what's kind of nice about the Mac sockets. Nobody else really does this, but Mac does. They have 4 different sizes. And they call this a mid-length, but they call their deeps a deep and extra deep. They have a deep and an extra deep socket. Focus in there, little fellow. There's not much difference there. So just to get that out of the way and clear that up for any questions that anyone might have on that matter, because there really is a very marginal space in between there. And as far as depth wise on that, there's really, you're not gaining a whole lot. So to buy the Mac mid-lengths is kind of subjective. Their deeps are pretty much a good general mid-length. In fact, strange as it may be, there's your deeps. There's your deep socket right there for your Mac. There's your mid-length. These are all 3/8 drive. And there's your shallow. Very huge difference. And then they have an extra deep 10 millimeter you can buy, which is a hair longer than this. So some people have complained about it. Some people actually like it. I myself have found that it's been really handy. And when I started switching to different socket brands, I definitely noticed a difference. In fact, there's a deep 1/4 inch. Here's a deep 13 millimeter in a 3/8 drive. But this is a Sunex. And that's when I noticed, because I've always used Mac Chrome sockets a lot. But if you notice the deep right here, that is a little bit longer than this deep. So you really can get into some factors. Now, why is that significant? Obviously, there's clearance for one, and then there's obviously being too long of a bolt length. You know, if you don't have a deep enough socket, then obviously you're not going to be able to get the nut down in there. So people often say, well, why do you need a semi-deep socket? Why is a semi-deep socket? Well, the thing of it is with a semi-deep is efficiency. I feel like is a big thing. To be efficient, you can use a semi-deep socket more often than not. and get the job done with more jobs. And this is kind of what the census, I would think, is across the board is that semi-deeps actually improve your efficiency. In fact, if you were tearing apart something that had 13 millimeter bolts, all of them across the board, but some of them were long like this, you obviously can't get a shallow socket to work on there. Where's my shallow at? Here's my shallow. So here's a 13 millimeter shallow. So if I'm using a 13 millimeter shallow, I wouldn't be able to get this deep in here. Come on. I wouldn't be able to get... Wait, I got to put it on a socket. Why didn't you guys tell me that? Where I wouldn't be able to get all of the bolts, and maybe I had one or two that were studs and they were that deep, I can run a 13 millimeter shallow or semi-deep and get all those done with one socket instead of using two. Now, most people have shallow sockets, I will say, and sorry about this. I just got these and I've been trying them out. These are low profile, just 3/8 drive flat ratchet deals. They're from Powerbuilt, so I just grabbed them and used them. So I'll put a link for the description if you are interested in those. They're like $10. But anyways, the biggest thing is once again efficiency. Now I have noticed another thing that comes very handy with them and that is clearance. Okay, clearance, get your clearance. The 13 millimeter on a 13 millimeter. Let's say I was doing something, but I needed something that was not very shallow. You can see right here. This is a 13 millimeter shallow and a 13 millimeter deep. If you put them side by side, you're getting a little bit more length, which would definitely help you out in a certain situation on a tight bolt. Put that on there, and bada bing, bada boom. In fact, you can really get... I've got another few more threads I can go on that bolt before I can get that length on of it. How much can you get on a deep socket? Well, you can go all the way down. You can get really deep studs, but they're kind of overkill. That's the thing about a deep socket is they're kind of overkill. And the other thing is, like I said, the 1/2-inch drive sockets, I do have some 1/2-inch drives, but I don't find myself using them on some bigger stuff too. Maybe you guys that are diesel guys can chime in the comment box, but I do find that 1/2-inch drive sockets are not as advantageous for me. But I do notice that brand difference makes a big difference. In fact, you just seen, let me go ahead and show you a little demonstration here too on different brands of semi-deep sockets. If I can get my stuff together and figure out where my stuff is here. So there's your 13 millimeter snap-on, and you can see the bolt goes in there good. And then we have some 1/4-inch ones here. Let's take the 1/4-inch one, the gear wrench, and it does not go shallow enough, but it is shorter. It is a touch shorter in the 1/4-inch drive. So I've noticed that too with some of the once you go with the 1/4-inch, you can also get different lengths there too. But instead of going to an extension, that makes sense. Let's go look at now I have a Matco one. This is an actual Matco branded socket. Doesn't say USA on it, but the Matco one is definitely got, this is a 1/4-inch. It's got a little more clearance than the snap-on in the 1/4-inch. A little more clearance than the snap-on in the 1/4-inch, but it also carries the same depth. So if I was trying to get something in a very tight access space, I have a 1/4-inch mid-length, and I don't have to put an extension on it because they don't make 1-inch 1/4-inch extensions that are going to give you that. So, there could be that scenario where you run into that. And that's just why semi-deeps come in handy sometimes, because you're beating the odds as far as getting something into that area. It's just a different flavor for a different type of application is what it all boils down to. And I hope that most of this makes sense to you. This is actually a deep 13 millimeter 1/4-inch drive ADV socket. And as you can see here with the 1/4-inch ADV Matco, once again, we get a little more length on it. So we're going to get you a little more length, or we can have a little less length. It's just nice to not have to use an extension. I think a lot of us would agree that are mechanics a lot of us would agree that extensions aren't exactly our favorite things to use. They are, when you have to use them, you have to use them. There's no way around it. But if a guy could just use sockets and ratchets all day long, and one type of, minimalizing using connections to sockets and ratchets and fasteners, that would be the ultimate thing, because you're going to reduce torque and all that when you're just using one or the other. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you if you have any more questions or something that I missed on semi-deep sockets, but that's my video on that. And really, the brand preference is, I should mention that in half-inch drive, there's only 3 companies that make them: Snap-on, Koken, and Genius Tools that I found. And Genius is a 12-point set, and Koken's a 6-point, and Snap-on's a 6-point. Those are the only 3 companies you can get semi-deeps in half-inch drive. So as far as 1/4 inch and 3/8, they're all over the place in semi-deep. So anyways, guys, remember, like, comment, share, subscribe, ring that bell. Remember, keep your hands dirty and your money clean. Thanks for watching.